Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, I am going to talk about my experience of outsourcing an application and getting it done from another team. The purpose of sharing this video is that if you are an entrepreneur or software engineer who is planning to outsource an application to some other team or a software engineer, you can learn some of the lessons that I learned through the process and improve upon. So first thing first, first of all, the idea stage. Uh, Being a software engineer, it is not new that you come up with some idea and you think that it might be useful to some of the folks and it can solve their problem, and you get very excited about getting it done. You can't wait to see um, in people hand and try your best to get it done as soon as possible. Same thing happened with me. I thought about an idea and I thought this might be very useful to some of the folks. So first of all, I did some paper sketches, wrote down what are the objectives from that app that I want to achieve, and did some sketching of screens on simple notepad, no fancy UI. Once I was done with that, then I basically use an online free tool, which is Balsamic. I will drop the link in the video description, that I use to basically convert those paper sketches into wireframes, black and white, without any interactive wireframes, just plain screens. Once I was done with that, the next stage was deciding whether I should develop it as a web application first or a mobile application. Since I have mobile development experience, so I thought, let's start with mobile first, and later, if there are enough users interested in getting that in web, in the form of web app, then I will do it later. So when I picked up that it would be mobile first, then the next question was, should it be hybrid or a native application? Uh, my decision selecting native was lots of features that was part of that application. They were related to native, and with all the developments in hybrid, I was still reluctant to do in hybrid, although it was a cost saving because it would work both on iOS and Android when it was hybrid. But still, I decided that I would start first native. When it comes to native, then there are two choices, whether we should start on iPhone first versus Android, or should we start both at the same time. Now, the issue with starting application both at the same time is that there is duplicate effort in QA. If one thing is changing, it is changing on the other. So to save that time, I thought, okay, let's finish iOS first. We will discover all the possible scenarios in iOS. Once it is done and all the discussion has happened, then we will later port it to Android. And Android guy will keep iOS as a reference, and it will be very easier for the QE and the dev to work on that. So iOS to go. The next question was, should I do it myself or should I get it done from somewhere else? Now, the problem with doing it myself, I'm also working as a full time engineer with another firm, and spending daily dedicated hours was a bit difficult for me. So I thought, what I will do is I will get it done, and later, once it is done, after the first version, I will take it over, and after that, I will improve or add new features in that application. Because if I was doing it, maybe it would have taken me like 3, 4, 5 months, and getting it done might have taken like 2 months, and I couldn't wait to, this much time. Uh, the other Some of the things that I tried to cut cost was that I didn't want a very polished UI. I will do the testing myself, because I had by this time I had decided that I will get it done from somewhere else. Online platform like Fiverr, Upwork was also an option, and some of the devs that I know was another option. So I thought, to cut costs, there would be no polished UI. I will do the testing myself, and for the back end of application, instead of writing and paying for APIs and fancy server, I would rely on Firebase, and yeah, we will use the Firebase as a backend for now. So at this time, I had decided that I would be going to outsource my application to another team or another dev. So to safeguard myself, that I had to ensure quality, and I should be aware of what is going on. Some of the measures that I took, I am going to mention now. Some of the measures that I took to ensure that app is being developed in a way how I want, in terms of code quality, in terms of how it would be easy to extend. I created a repo on GitHub, and with a README file, and put all the good practices. For example, in terms of coding style guide, we would be following Swift coding style guide that Rave and Relish, one of the very popular blog, they have recommended. And in terms of design pattern, we would be using MVVM, which is very popular in dev community. And every piece of code by the end of day, or to I will they will be creating a pull request. Pull request is the delta, um, delta, which has a code, which we review it, and if it is up to the mark, we merge it to master branch, and if it is not, then they will fix all the feedback, and they will improve the pull request, and then once it is good, then we will merge it. On the side, I will be writing some of the unit tests and UI tests, just to check that app is working, connections are working, and it is robust enough to go into user hand. Uh, Despite the fact that all these measures were in place, mentioned before, then I want to share that what actually happened. I shared the wireframe with the team, and after like 2 weeks, I was hoping to have a discussion with the team where we go over wireframes, discuss scenarios, discuss their input, and I would walk through basically with them the big picture of the application, how future would look like in terms of user, in terms of scale, how dear this idea is to me, and all those things that I had in mind. But surprisingly, they after like 2 weeks, they shared a build with me. Um, they they took the wireframes, and they just translated into the working. And I said, okay. I was happy and surprised at the same time. And I installed that, and I ran through a couple of scenarios, and I find bugs on almost every screen. Um, like some basic things, keyboard handling, password should be 8 character, previous date should not be beyond future date, date should be always greater than previous date, those kind of things. And I list down all the issues and share with the team. They fix it, they gave me another build. I ran through again the fixes and some other screens that they have developed in this much time. There was some further issues, uh, and all the measures that I had in mind and in place in terms of the guideline, they were not following. For example, they were creating pull requests, but pull request was such, you know, a big chunk of work that it almost killed the purpose of pull requests. It took me like 3 4 hours to review such a big pull request. Comments were repetitive. If they had created smaller pull requests, I would have been I would have given them quicker feedback, and in future they were not repeating those mistakes. Uh, there was also another thing that some of the scenarios that I haven't thought through when I was developing wireframe, and when actual app came in front of me, I discovered those, and I tried to update the team that okay, these are the scenarios, these are some missing links. Okay, from this screen, how it would be user navigating back to XYZ screens, those things. Some of the code reusabilities issues, for example, some of the similar screens could have been developed in a way that it is a one component with configuration, and we could have saved some time. uh, I thought, like, when pull request was such a big chunk of work, I thought, and issues were repetitive, I thought instead of holding PRs, I should let it go, merge, and once app is working, then I will refactor it, and I can improve, and uh, take it from once a working version is there. But the issue was that I should have not compromised on this. Like, I was seeing things which were frustrating, and after like 1 month, I said, okay, let's stop the development. Let me rethink wireframes, rethink development process, rethink how can I ensure that these many bugs are not in. Because as a dev team, uh, if you have not written down everything for them, they might be good with assumptions, and they might just take your word and translate into app. So I needed to have further refine those of the outline that I had thought initially, and uh, enforce it in a better way. Now, the overall lesson that I want to share with you is, overall, I would say outsourcing model is not bad. If you can get it done, and that it is good or bad, or you can ensure that the other team is following the criterias that you had in place. It is not a bad model. The other takeaway is, I would say, don't start development until you have fully thought through wireframe scenarios, and thought it like how a user would be feeling when they are on XYZ screens. Are they lost? How many number of steps they have to take to accomplish any goal from that mobile application. And in terms of the screens, I would say it is good to have dynamic or interactive wireframes. You can have uh, flow charts, like clicking on this button will go to this screen, and how many ways there are to reach one particular screen from different screens, and list down everything that you have in mind, like date rule, passwords rules, keyboard, how keyboard would be looking like, how it would dismiss, you know how there would be error looking like, how success message, success a message, everything you should write it down. And I also would say that you should also enforce that there would be no compromise on PR by the end of every feature, uh, or even by end of day. Ask them to create a PR, review it, and then merge it. And don't assume that they would be thinking the scenario. And if they are good, they will definitely come up with a suggestion, question, and feedback. But it depends on how other team is feeling or connected to your idea and putting effort in, add in. Uh, because some teams work as a hired gun, and they just do it what is in front of them. So these are the measures that I think would be helpful. And I'm also working on improving upon some of the measures that I should take in future, and it would be helpful for me. So these are the lessons and the process I walk you through, um, that I did. I hope it would be useful. If you find it useful, like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much.